Thank you for joining me on this installment of Kingdom Things. This is your host, Ashley Nicole Phillips, spiritual practitioner, spiritual healer, spiritual creative, by the way of God, Goddess, Source, Essential Sun, the Most High, whatever you like to call the force, the power, the energy behind creation, behind all that is who planted me here on earth to emanate the energies of unconditional love through my creations, through my words, through my channelings. So a message that's coming through to me right now is, ain't it funny how life goes around? Ain't it funny how life goes around? We celebrate the things, the accomplishments that we achieve in our life. We celebrate the things we obtain, the materials we obtain, the accomplishments we are able to put our name to, the certificates, the awards, the rewards that we're able to put our name on. We celebrate those things, right? And we don't so much honor the energies, the people. We don't so much honor the people that have been placed in our lives, on our path, and on our journey. Every single person, every single energy we encounter on our journeys is an encounter to assist us on our journeys. Multiple layers to this message that's coming through, but a couple of the dimensions, perspectives that I am ruminating on this moment is resentment. We're about to go through the Lionsgate portal, and this portal is going to assist with catapulting us into a new realm of reality. This Lionsgate portal is to assist with catapulting us onto a new track of time, into a new reality, right? As we go through lives, we have the option to continue on the same track of time, continue in the same karmic loops, continue to be exposed to the same lessons, or we have the option to introspect on our lives. We have the option to allow ourselves to grow into a new version of ourselves, allow ourselves to embody new energies of self in order to experience new realities, new lifetimes in this one incarnation, right? So a couple of perspectives that's coming through is I was feeling a lot of resentment, subconscious resentment that my spirit guides awakened me to, subconscious resentment that my spirit guides awakened me to. And this subconscious resentment was keeping me one foot in and one foot out of this Lionsgate portal. This Lionsgate portal, which is going to catapult me into a new reality, a more abundant reality, a more blissful and joyful reality, a reality that's more reflective of my authentic self, a reality that's more reflective of my soul, not a reality that I inherited from, societal programmings, a reality that I inherited from ancestral wounds, a society that I inherited from DNA indoctrinations and programmings. But this Lionsgate portal is to traject me into a new reality, onto a new track of time that is more of a mirror of my soul, of my authentic, energetic blueprint. A reality that's more reflective of the purpose why I was planted on earth at this time. So, ain't it funny how life goes around? The same people you meet going up, you greet coming down. So we get into our egos, get into our bags, get into our heads about these things that we accomplish, these materials that we obtain. And we let this shit blow our heads up. We let this shit think that it's us. I did it. Me. I did this. No one else. I did this. I accomplished this. This is my name on this reward. It was me that did it. When all actuality, when all reality, when all divine happenings, when all divine orchestrations, when all reality of the divine blueprint of what is, of how God has created this shit. Every single person that you encounter, every single energy that you encounter on your journey is to assist you on your journey, is to assist you on your life's path. That person that you walked by in the grocery store, that energy, they have an energy code that you needed on your life path, that you soaked in when you walked past them, that you inherited when you walked past them in the grocery store. That person that was a jerk to you in school, that person was training you up. That was a soul that was planted on your path to train you up, to be able to hold the position that God planted you here to embody, to hold, the position that you were meant to step into. Every single person that we encounter, every single energy we encounter on our life's path is intentional. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. That's how good my God is. That's how good God is. Nothing is a coincidence. Honor and cherish and love every person in this world, because every person in this world is a part of your story. Every person in this world is a part of your journey. Every person in this world, their name should be written on the plaque next to yours. Your name embodies the energy of every person in this world, every being in all that is, really. Every being of all that is. Your name holds the energy of every being of all that is. We have to love each other and respect each other and not poke our tongues out when we move to the next level and think that we did it on our own. When in all actuality, every person, every being, everything in existence assisted you to get to where you are. Talk about karmic energies. Talk about karmic energies. This karmic energy I'm about to break down. I am about to break down. Had a good old grip. This karmic energy had a grip on me. Had a grip, not a grip, but a grip on me. This karmic energy was holding me. This karmic energy was holding me. So a few podcast installments back, I think the title of the podcast installment is called Unconditional Love. I channeled messages about how my purpose for being planted on earth during this time is to emit the energy of unconditional love, right? God Goddess, Source Essential Sun, the Most High, intended for our partnerships with our spouses, with the person that we choose to journey this life with. God Goddess, Source Essential Sun, the Most High, intended for that person and you to share a bond unlike anything that this world has created. God, Goddess, Source Essential Sun, the Most High, intended for the bond, the matrimony, the marriage between the people that intend to journey this life together. God, Goddess, Source Essential Sun, the Most High, intended for this bond to be one that is inseparable. God, Goddess, Source Essential Sun, the Most High, intended for this bond with this person that you choose to journey this life story with, this person that you choose and intend to create this story with. God, Goddess, Source, the Central Sun, the Most High, intended for this bond to be inseparable, to be a bond of unconditional love. A love that is understanding that everything that we experience in this life and everything that we go through in this life, you only experience and go through these things in order to grow you. So the person that you journey your life with is a person that understands the essence of your truth, because they're able to see your truth and know that your truth is their truth. We joined in relationships, in relations, in marriages based off of the moving and ever-changing conditions of our earth personalities, our egos. So as a collective, as humanity, we are accustomed to choosing partnerships and relationships, marriages with individuals based off of our earth personalities or our egos, and our earth personalities or our egos are ever changing and conditional. Why? Because our earth personalities, our egos, are not solid foundations to build a home. Our earth personalities or our egos are not solid foundations to build a home, to build a forever lasting bond, to build a marriage, to build a relationship that you intend to last extensively, to last through this lifetime. Our egos, our earth personalities are dependent, are varied based off of the conditions in which we find ourselves in. Our egos and our earth personalities tend to be a subconscious, unconscious creation of our experiences. Our ego or our earth personalities are a subconscious or conscious creation, unconscious creation of the experiences of our lifetimes, of our ancestors. Experiences that we inherited in our DNA make up our ego or our earth personalities. Conditioning by society makes up our egos or our earth personality. A society that's ever changing. A society that trends in different directions every day. So if we're building relationships and bonds on a foundation of our ego or our earth personality, how brittle, how unstable of foundations we have chosen to build our relationships, our bonds upon. We are evolving as humanity. We are evolving as individuals. We are evolving as a collective. We are evolving into beings that are in alignment with our truth, our authentic selves, in alignment with our soul. We're evolving into beings that are in alignment with our soul. Our soul, which is an infinite creation with no beginning, no end. As we come into alignment with our souls and we begin to create our lives consciously, we begin to vibrate and emanate the energies of our truth, our souls. We will begin to create our lives based off of our truth, based off of our authenticity, lives of joy and bliss. As I stated in the last podcast installment, level up. We're leveling up. We're leveling up with coming into integration with our souls in order to create lives of pure joy, pure bliss. Why? Because these lives are based off of our authentic emanations of our soul energy. And as we emanate our soul energies, we will begin to attract, we will be sent by the Most High, God, Goddess, Source, Essential Sun. We will be sent the individual that will be able to sustain with us a relationship, a bond that is indestructible, because I see you as you are me and I am you. And everything that we are going to face in this life is only meant to grow us into better versions of ourselves. I've had, there's the twin flame thing. The twin flame thing, I've spoken about it a couple of times. I'm going to repost a video that I took down off of my YouTube. So it was a whole channeling that I did, that I got. It was like a lecture type of thing. It's a lecture that I did from a channeling that I got about the feud between the masculine and feminine energy in the human collective. So there's been a feud, an ever-going feud for thousands of years between the masculine and feminine energy, right? I'm going to repost this lecture, this channeled lecture, to my YouTube page, Kingdom Things Podcast on YouTube. So I'll repost that. Yes. So there's been this everlasting feud between the feminine and masculine energy. And karmic energy that had a grip on me, this karmic energy that had a grip, not a grip, but a grip on me, is the energy in which I believed that this masculine energy that I'm supposed to share this divine bond with is an energy that is in the wrong, blaming this masculine energy for the things that were the things that occurred, the experiences that occurred, the things that occurred that were meant to grow me, that were intended to grow me. These things had to happen in order for me to be the individual that I am today. Those things had to happen. So the karmic energy that had a grip on me said that I'm a victim, said that you have to prove to me that you deserve me, right? In some aspects, that's correct. In some aspects, I have to hold myself to, I have to hold my boundaries. I have to make the choices and take actions that respect the level of love that I show myself, right? But it's me letting go of the energy and the expectation that you have to prove something to me. It's me letting go of the person that I was before, that was in that experience, in that dynamic of, and experience the things that grew me, experience the pains that grew me. Yes, they grew me and I'm appreciative. I'm no longer that person. I have to let go of that person that I was in order to allow myself to be catapulted into my new reality, in order to allow myself to grow past the mindset that I had as a person that experienced those things that grew me. It's complex, but this karmic energy that had a grip on me says that I'm a victim, says that they're in the wrong, I'm in the right. There is no right or wrong. There are only experiences that were always intended to happen in order to grow you to the next level of self. There is no right or wrong. There are only experiences that were always intended to happen in order to grow you into the next level of self. As every energy that you encounter is an energy that is intended to assist you on your journey of life. That is something that the divine channeled through me a while ago. So every experience that we experience in our life was always intended to grow us to the next level of self, right? There is no good or bad. There is no right or wrong. There are only happenings that were always intended to happen in order to grow you into the next level of self, in order to expand you into the next level of self. So, whenever we experience traumatic experiences or painful experiences, yes, feel the emotions, allow those emotions to flow through you. But then it's also at a point where you have to, instead of focusing on the pain, you have to introspect and put the focus on what that pain has taught you. You have to allow yourself to relax into the knowing that everything that you experience is intentional, and relax into the knowing that you are safe. You are a divine being having a human experience. So what is this pain trying to teach me? And the intuitive knowings that flow into you, the teachings that flow into you, focus on that. Focus on what those pains are trying to teach you about yourself. About yourself. And as we begin to practice this more and more in our daily lives, what we're going to do is vibrate ourselves out of the pain. We're going to vibrate our experiences, our lives, out of the realm of suffering. As we continue to focus on what that pain is being presented to teach us, we are going to vibrate our lives into new octaves of being, higher octaves of being, as humans, as a human collective. As we focus on what the pains that are presented in our lives, what the traumatic experiences that happen in our lives are trying to teach us, and focus on those teachings rather than the pain, we are going to vibrate our lives and the human collective into a new and higher frequential octave of being. On that note, everything that I channel as these podcasts are channels, the divine speaking through me, my soul, the divine aspect of my soul speaking through me, right, is what I speak about, is what I channel, what I talk about here on Kingdom Things podcast with me, Ashley Nicole Phillips. So with that being said, I had an experience where this beautiful soul that I was magnetized to catalyzed me on my journey of self-realization, self-love, self-activation, right? And what, that experience taught me is I was so deprived of myself as I had learned to embody the energies of other people in order to feel like I fit in, right? In order to feel seen, in order to feel heard. I would embody the energies of other people. I would be who I felt like other people wanted or needed me to be in order to feel like I fit in. So I was so deprived of myself because I never lived as myself. I created a life thus far in the false start of this life, the beginning years of this life, was built and created by the energies of the energies that I embodied, the energies of other people that I embodied. So the life that I created wasn't even me. It wasn't true to who I was, because those weren't my energies, right? I would embody the energies, I would act and embody the energies that I felt other people wanted and needed me to be in order to feel like I fit in. And as I did that, I created a life that wasn't reflective of my true authentic self. It wasn't reflective of who I was. It wasn't reflective of my soul's essence, my soul's light, my soul's vibration, my soul's frequencies. So as this beautiful soul comes into my life that I magnetize towards, and catapults me on my journey of expansion, all of the things that catapulted me were extremely traumatic experiences. All of the things that catapulted me were extremely traumatic experiences that I held so much resentment. I held so much resentment for going through that. So I'm letting that resentment go, knowing that I experienced that because I was so deprived of me. I was so deprived of myself, and that those experiences catapulted me to go looking for myself, to go looking for home, to go looking for me. And when I went looking for myself, I stumbled on this journey of self-activation, self-healing, self-love. And as I loved myself, I activated myself, I see what the power of me does. I see what the power of what me creates. With being catapulted on this journey of self-activation, self-love, self-healing, through the traumatic experiences that I held resentment towards this person for, I went looking for myself. I went looking for myself and stumbled on the path of self-love, self-activation, self-healing. And as I stumbled upon this path of self-love, self-activation, self-healing, I found what the power of me does. I found what my true, authentic soul frequency does, what my true, authentic soul frequency creates. I found the power of me. So instead of focusing on the trauma experience, I'm going to shake hands with that trauma and say, thank you. Thank you, trauma. Why? Because you catapulted me to a new realm of reality that I did not believe was obtainable. You catapulted me into a reality that I gave up on a long time ago. You catapulted me towards a reality that I no longer have to doubt, because it's reality I am living. Follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. How do we embody our soul selves? How do we embody our divinity? How do we embody the magical, seemingly magical aspects and elements of self? We follow our bliss. Those higher emotions, those higher vibrational emotions, such as excitement, joy, those emotions are transcendental emotions. Those emotions assist us with transcending aspects of this earthly world. The emotions of excitement, joy, bliss assist us with transcending our earthly selves, assists us with raising up and dwelling within the realms of spirit, within the realms of divinity, within the realms of infinite possibilities, within the realms of miraculous happenings. Follow your bliss. Interesting revelation planted for me to realize by my spirit guides. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Don't you know that the anger and resentment and sadness, even the pleasant emotions, happiness, joy, all of our emotions that we feel like, these emotions that we feel like are triggered by people and things outside of us, don't you know those emotions were already within us? Resentment, the anger, the sadness, the happiness, the joy, the bliss. that's triggered by people or things outside of us, those emotions were already inside of us. And these people, things serve as conduits to trigger these emotions within us for our growth. I woke up this morning feeling resentment, an energy that I've been working through for the past few days, for lifetimes, but this energy has been triggered within me the last few days. And, it's an energy that I pushed down and locked away. And a lot of people, like to harp on people for running from their shadows, They like to say, oh, you're not really a spiritual person if you don't confront your shadows. And for myself, I felt so many unpleasant emotions in this lifetime alone that I was fucking tired of it. I was tired of it. Like I lived as a ball of anxiety. Like I'm tired of this shit, So when you find things that make you happy, blissful, that's where you want to focus your energy. That's where you want to run to. You don't want to deal with the other shit, the resentment, the anger, the sadness. When you lived as a ball of depression and anxiety for most of your life. So this revelation of understanding this resentment that this is the way my spirit guides is breaking it down. So your eyeballs, right? We look out and we like to point out these things that are making us feel the anger, resentment, happiness, bliss. But let's say like your eyeballs have a filament of whatever, an energetic filament of whatever emotion you're feeling. So that emotion is not coming from an external, it's coming from within. It's your eyeballs are covered with that sadness or that resentment. So when you look outward and you see things and people, you blame those things and people for your sadness and resentment. When in all actuality, you have a filament of resentment, sadness, anger over your eyeballs. So that's coming from within you. That sadness, anger, resentment is coming from within you. And the people and things external to yourself are catching that wrath when in all actuality, that's your energy to deal with. That's your energy to transmute. Right? Interesting revelation. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for it. Now, excuse me. I'm going to give myself time to feel through this. Do a self-care day. I hope you're taking care of yourself. So I channeled on a previous Kingdom Things installment. The installment or the episode title is the Twin Flame Prophecy. Twin Flames plus a 2029 prophecy. The year 2029 was a prophecy that I channeled. A prophecy that we were, humanity, planet Earth, humanity is to be visited by other humanoid races from our galaxy. So I channeled a prophecy that said in 2029, humanity is going to be visited by other humanoid races from our galaxy, right? And they look just like me and you with slight differences. What's the biggest difference is our energetic makeup. So the biggest difference between these humanoids from other parts of our galaxy and us is our energetic makeup. So they embody energies, they carry energies that we've never been exposed to. And like I said in that installment, anything, humans, when we're exposed to anything, any energies, anything that we've never experienced before, it strikes up fear within us. And this is something that's been programmed in our DNA that we are slowly being helped out of by many forces in the cosmos, many forces in the heavens, by our earthly ancestors. We are being progressively walked out of, programmed out of, coaxed out of this fear of anything that we do not know, anything we've never been exposed to. So in that installment, the twin flames plus the 2029 prophecy, I channeled how twin flame counterparts, we are alchemizing these traumas from the human collective. We are alchemizing the traumas from the history of the human collective within our bodies in order to create or alchemize the remedy for these traumas that we've created in the human collective's past. Now this, the product of this alchemization is going to be an energy that humanity as a whole, has never been exposed to. Just as the energies of the other beings of our galaxy, we've never been exposed to. Twin flames are the hybrid race that humanity is evolving into. And when I say hybrid race, the reason why it's hybrid, because we are going to embody new energies that we've never embodied as the human collective. We are going to embody higher vibrational energies that we've never embodied as a human collective. Higher vibrational energies likened to the other humanoid races in our galaxy. There are certain things and energies that the human collective has, that we have perpetuated through generations. One of the things is down talking Earth, down talking the human experience. This world is going to shit. This world is going to shit. You know, things that we say, it's getting worse every day. It's getting worse. Things are worse when I was a kid. I hate to see what it's going to look like when my grandchildren grow up. You know, things like that. Things like that. Rhetoric like that about Earth. About Earth. And the Earth experience. The Earth experience is really a magical blessing. To be a human on Earth is a magical blessing. All of the experiences we get to experience and create, all of the experiences we have the power to experience and create. It's our choice on whether those experiences are shitty or whether those experiences are blissful, joyful, and experiences that we want to have again and again. We have hot wings. We have hot wings, y'all. We have avocado toast. We have like good bomb ass food. Like when we're in other realms and we're in spirit form, we don't get lemon pepper wings. Like, y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. The human experience is a magical blessing. A magical blessing. We have to shift our minds and start to appreciate what we are experiencing in that way. A magical blessing. So all of the ups and downs, ebbs and flows, all of the swings of the pendulum, we have to appreciate what we're experiencing in this earth human experience. How are you diluting yourself? How are you diluting yourself? How are you holding yourself back from embodying the full authentic self? From embodying your full authentic self? From embodying your full authentic you? Myself, I was programmed, I was trained, this is all intended. Like I said, everything that we experience in every experience here on earth, every realm, place, space, everything that we experience is for our personal growth, expansion, and evolution. So, as divinely intended, I was programmed to dilute myself in order to be more, in order to confine myself to mainstream, like what's acceptable in mainstream, in this mainstream society. I was programmed to try to squeeze myself into these programs that we created in the human collectives lostness on the human collective's dysfunction. So the programs that we created out of the dysfunction of the human collective, I was programmed, shoved into these boxes, these programs that the human collective created out of dysfunction, not out of divine alignment. We created these things that say this is how women should be, this is how people should be, this is how this race should act, this is how this age should be, this is how this is this is the acceptable beauty standard, this is the acceptable personality traits for whoever whoever you appear to be, right? I'm a black woman, so this is how I should be, this is how I should act, this is how all these programmings that I was divinely shoved into in order to find my way out, in order to find my way back home to my authentic soul self. So I took on all of these programmings of the human collective, of society, so many programming, so many dysfunctions, so many traumas I energetically took on, I experienced as well, in order to find my way back home to myself, the ultimate proving grounds, ultimate training grounds, ultimate conditionings. Like in my mind, I'm seeing, I haven't watched the show, but I've seen like advertisements of like the Ninja Warrior, how they jump on all of those obstacles. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like that times 1,000. Like it's the ultimate proving grounds of what you can do as a spiritual being. It's like really, really flexing your muscles, really testing your abilities as a spiritual being. Taking on all of these traumas, all of these programs, all of these dysfunctions that are very confining, very restraining, very it imprisons your soul. It imprisons your authentic self. And that's why that's the big part of, that's, okay, got it to say, this is why we have so many diseases, so much depression, so much anxiety in our society. This is why, because we have all of these dysfunctional traits, programs, and traumas that we have created in our society. This is why. And these dysfunctions, traumas, and programs that we try to fit ourselves in, or we energetically take on, or we experience in our life. This is why we have so many diseases, so much depression, so much anxiety in our society. So I incarnated into the earth realm. I took on I took on many of these programs, many of these traumas, in order this was divinely intended. These are experiences that were divinely set in my path. Taking on these programmings, these confining, imprisoning programmings, imprisoning my soul, imprisoning my truth. Taking on these traumas that further had my soul receding to find relief, to find cover from all of the pain and the hurt that I took on, I embodied, I experienced. Okay, boom. So finding my way back to myself, my true soul self, my true soul's essence, my true soul's vibration is, because I'm integrating with my soul right now. I'm in the process of integrating with my soul, and I just got alert, I'm integrated with my soul. I am integrated with my soul. I am integrated with my soul. I am integrated with my soul. So everything that I experienced, whoop, whoop. I'm so excited. Everything that I experienced, everything that I took on, all the programs and limiting beliefs that I held for so long, that I had to climb my way out of, that I had to find my way out of. It was a puzzle that I had to, a jigsaw puzzle that I had to figure out in order to find my way back to myself, my home, me, my authentic soul print. What is the prize for finding my way back to my soul print? Creating the life of my dreams, creating a goddess dream for my life. Things that things that people, okay, I'm not gonna say that. Creating a goddess dream for my life is what my prize is. And y'all, when I channel these messages, I don't know what's gonna come through. So this is news for me too. Like, I felt it. Like, I've been holding this energy for a minute, so I felt it. But I was like wondering, like, when the heck is gonna come? Like, when I'm like, But I was feeling it, the energies, and like, breaking news, I'm finding out right now that I am integrated with my soul. I'm integrated with my soul. I'm integrated with my soul. The dysfunction between the man and the woman. The dysfunction between the feminine energy and the masculine energy. The dysfunction between the feminine energy and the masculine energy is a dysfunction created. This dysfunction is a product, and the dysfunction is like the dueling. Like, instead of the feminine and masculine energy gracefully dancing the waltz or the flamingo or whatever couples dance that's beautiful and involves a balance and concentration and understanding between the two aspects of the dance. The feminine and masculine energy are supposed to dance the mamba together with grace, execution, balance, understanding. But the feminine and masculine energy in the human collective, they duel, they fight each other. They're in competition. They are in competition. Why? Because of the dysfunction in the feminine energy, because of the dysfunction between the masculine energy. There are so many programs and traumas that we created in our society, in our ancestral lineages, so many dysfunctions and programmings in which we say the feminine energy has to be a certain way, the masculine energy has to be a certain way. And these ways in which we say the feminine energy needs to be, these ways in which we say the masculine energy needs to be, are out of balance with nature. They are not in correlation with divine nature. So we fight feminine and masculine energy. We fight Mr. and Mrs. Smith all over the world. Mr. and Mrs. Smith all over the world. Why? Because we're imbalanced. The feminine energy is in balance. The masculine energy is in balance. But guess what? We're coming into balance. We're coming into balance. What does that mean? That means divine bonds, divine marriages, divine couples, divine energies meeting and creating together. Okay, y'all. Now, like, the title of these podcasts are like a channel. So they come through me, right? They come through me. The title of these podcasts come through me. And I never know what the actual title of the podcast is going to be. I'm lying. I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll just, it's always super synchronistic, but I titled this podcast on the first little amalgamation that I recorded, the first little segment. And I had no clue what the podcast was going to be, but You Power just came to my mind. So that's when I titled it, right? Okay. So flow through me. Higher self, flow through me. I just took a walk down to the pool, right? The community pool in the neighborhood. I just took a walk down to the pool. And as I was sitting there by the pool, I got a nudge from spirit. It was like, go. Someone passed away and they want to reach out to their loved one. And there was this lady sitting behind me. It was like, and I was like, okay. And the way, I just like to say that I am an angel. I'm an angel. I'm not a psychic. I'm an angel. I'm an angel. So I was like, I got that nudge, a spiritual nudge, someone passed away and they want to reach out to the relative. It's the lady sitting behind you. I was like, okay, what do I say? And then spirit was just like, empty yourself. The spirit of this loved one, it's her grandmother. Her grandmother is coming through. Just empty yourself. When I channel these podcasts, I just empty myself. And I allow that energy to come. You can come down here. I allow that energy to come. No, you're fine. I allow that energy to just come through. I allow that energy to come through. I just empty myself and I allow that energy to come through. And that's the thing that I channeled a long time ago, how God got us, in order for us to reach the next levels of self, evolve to our next levels of self. It's not so much thinking about what we're going to do, but it's emptying ourselves in order to be filled with the energies that we need to embody the self that we need in every moment, right? So spirit was just like, just empty yourself, you're going to channel. And I'm like, Spirit's like, just empty yourself and go stand go walk up to her and start talking. You're going to channel. I was like, oh, hell. I was like, no, I don't want to do it that way. And mind you, when I first started channeling, I've been channeling this whole time as I did my podcast, but I just didn't know it. I just didn't know that I was channeling. But as I started spiritually evolving and raising my vibrations, raising the frequency of self, I started channeling higher frequency beings, right? So that involved a certain level of evolution for my channeling, where I have to let go more. I have to kind of allow more, let go to another level. So spirit was like, just empty yourself, just like you do your podcast, empty yourself and go stand and start talking to her. And I was like, at first I was like, okay. And I started, dropped into my heart space and I felt the energy coming in. It was a pleasant feeling. It felt, it was a pleasant feeling. I felt the energy coming in. And at first I said, as long as it's okay with my higher self, as long as it's okay with the source, God, goddess aspect of myself, as long as this spirit, this energy is cleared by the higher aspect of myself, it's okay. I was like, okay, fine. So I sat there, I dropped into my heart space and I felt the energy starting to move through me. And then I got nervous. I was like, what is she going to say? What am I going to say? I was like, what am I going to say? And I was like, okay, never mind. I was like, no, just tell me something specific so she knows that it's her grandmother. Just tell me something specific. And I was so nervous. I wasn't getting it clearly. And I sat there for a good 5 minutes and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But then I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I walked up to the lady and I was just like, hey, how are you? I was like, do you have a grandmother that passed away? And she was like, yeah. And before I went up there, when I was sitting there contemplating in my head with spirit, when I was sitting there contemplating with spirit, like, am I going to do this? I was getting so many signs, like, the girl, just go do it. The girl, just go do it. I was getting so many signs. And then this man in a wheelchair, and he had one of his legs amputated, came rolling in. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, okay, maybe he's trying to tell me, like, the grandma was passed away from diabetes. She's diabetic. I was like, maybe that's what they're maybe that's what's coming through. So I sat there for a good few minutes, more minutes. And then I walked up to the lady and I was like, excuse me, how are you? I was like, you have a grandmother that passed away? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, was she diabetic? She was like, no, my grandfather's diabetic, but no, my grandma wasn't diabetic, but she passed away. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like putting the puzzle together in front of her. I was like, okay, because, yeah. I was like, anyways, she wanted me to let you know that she loves you so much. And, you know, every time she saw you when she was here, even now, like her heart lights up. Like she loves you so much and she's always with you. She's always with you. And she was like, okay, you're a psychic? And I was like, yeah. I said yes, but I'm an angel. Like I'm an angel. Like, I'm an angel. But I understand people know the term psychic. I was like, yes, I'm a psychic. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you so much. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So when I was walking back, you know, the way that I, you know, had it in my head, we have it in our heads the way things are supposed to go. We have it in our heads the way things are supposed to go. We have it in our minds what we want. And then we have it in our heads the way things are supposed to go based off of what we've seen and we've already experienced in this life. So we have it in our heads of how we want things to go and how, this is just coming in, how we want things to go and how we're going to experience things, how we're going to do things based off of what we experienced, seen, and done things in our past. But God was like I watch shows and stuff with mediums, you know, the mediums, they get specific messages that come through to let the person know, yes, this is my relative. They get super specific messages like, oh, I had this green necklace that I wore all the time and she gave it to me before she passed away. I wanted something detailed like that. So she knew that I was legit, right? And when I was walking back, God was like, no, I'm doing something different. God was like, God Goddess is like, you know, yeah, like humanity is melded. Humanity is melded with the spirit realm, and we've always been melded with the spirit realm. We were just so blind to it, right? We were just so blind to it. And then I was looking up to the sky, and I was looking at how beautiful the clouds billow in the sky, and the white, the pigments of white, the reflection of white, you know, the way the sunlight reflects off of different parts of the white in the cloud. It looks like Michelangelo woke up early before we got up and got out his paintbrush and his palette and started going to work. That's how beautiful the sky looks, you know? And then the cicadas whistling in the trees, reminding us that we're divine. There are so many signs, if we slow down and look, that are reminding us who we are, that we are divine beings, but we don't slow down to, it was hidden in plain sight. Our divinity was hidden in plain sight. So I'm walking back and God was like, Goddess is like, I'm doing something different. Y'all are waking up to who y'all are. Y'all are waking up to who y'all are. We no longer have to drop little clues and little trinkets to let you know what it is. Like, no, move out the way and let me come through. It's like a phone call. God showed me like a phone, like FaceTime. You letting that loved one, being the medium for that loved one to come through, to send a direct message to their loved one, to channel the direct message through you from their loved one in the spirit realm to their loved one here in the physical realm. God was like, I'm doing something different. I don't have to drop trinkets and stuff like that no more. We're not doing that no more. God was like, you're going to channel. You're going to allow these spirits to come in to give a direct message to their loved ones, to speak to their loved ones through you. Can't live with them, can't live without them. That saying we have as a society, you know, our spouses, oh, I can't live with them, can't live without them. So I'm working through these energies that are, in order to expand into a newer level of reality. I'm working through these energies that I've held for lifetimes, that the human collective, energies that I took on to assist the human collective with evolution. So I'm working through the energies of the human collective, the dysfunction created by the human collective, in order to assist the human collective with ascension, in order to assist the human collective with evolution. And in turn, I'm going to be creating a life and a new level of reality, a life on a new level of reality, right? Can't live with them, can't live without them. So a while back, I did a past life regression. I may have spoken about this, I may have not. I think I did in a previous installment of Kingdom Things. So I did a past life regression. It was the first one of the first past life regressions that I did on myself, right? And what I came up with, what I experienced, what I saw was a girl named Allie who lived in backwoods Kentucky. Like, I don't want to offend anyone, but it was like backwoods Kentucky. It was like Kentucky before it was called in Kentucky. It was actually Alexandria, Kentucky is what it was. It was like in the 1800s or something. Like it was some time ago. Her name was Allie, short for Allison, right? She lived in a log cabin. She lived in a cabin with her grandfather, her father, and her mother. As I did this past life regression, Allie was a rambunctious kid. She had a lot of energy, high vibe energy. Why? Because she was a being planted here to assist with the evolution of humanity. She got lost in the sauce. She got lost in the sauce, right? So Allie, I did my past life regression. Allie, she is a woman who grew up in Alexandria, Kentucky. As a child, she lived in a cabin with her mother, her father, and her grandfather. Her mother, it seemed like her mother was annoyed by Allie, because she was different. Allie was different. Allie was rambunctious. Allie had a high vibration. Allie wasn't like all the other kids. Why? Because again, Allie, she was planted here to assist with the evolution of humanity. As when she was a kid, she witnessed her father get shot and killed. Shortly after that, her grandfather died. But before I saw that, before I saw my father get shot and killed, before my grandfather died, I was sitting with my grandfather, and he was like, Allie, you're special. Don't ever let anyone take that from you. Allie, you are special. Don't ever let anyone dim your light, Allie. Don't let anyone dim your light, Allie. Right? And then I witnessed my father get shot and killed. Like I saw it. I was coming out the log cabin, and he was like running. Like, okay, let's. There's a door. The door is open, so I can see. Straight through the door. Shot straight through the door. He runs past it, like the entrance of the door. Like he runs past where I can see him running, right? And then I see him get shot and fall down. He got shot and killed. Shortly after that, my grandfather, when he got shot and killed, in the past life regression, the picture that I saw was Allie, Allison, me. The energy was when I saw him get shot and killed, I backed into a closet, into a pantry, into a hamper. I curled up in a ball, and I was just sitting there in the darkness. So I witnessed my father get shot and killed. I back into the hamper, into the closet, into the pantry. I fall to the floor, curl up in a ball, and I just sit there. Right? And that was symbolic of me when I curled up in that dark pantry. That was symbolic of the light, my light leaving me. It was symbolic of my light, me allowing my light to be dimmed. It was symbolic of me being traumatized to the point where, I don't want to feel anything. I don't want to feel anything. And our lights, our souls, they are within our heart space. Our souls are within our heart space. So when we divert our energy from our heart space, and we avoid our heart space because we don't want to feel those pains, those traumas, our soul essence, our soul frequency is dimmed. And we begin to operate from our brains to avoid the pains of the traumas that we experienced, right? So me falling back into the hamper, curling up into a ball, was symbolic of me moving from my heart in order to avoid that pain of witnessing my father getting killed and moving into my headspace. Shortly after that, my grandfather died. And then it moved to where, as a child, the energy was, as a child, I wanted to be a dancer, like a ballet dancer in a big city like New York. I wanted to be a ballet dancer in a big city like New York or Chicago. I wanted to be a dancer. But, when that happened, when I witnessed my father getting killed, and I, avoided that trauma, avoided those pains in my heart space, and moved into my head, that dimmed my light, that dimmed my true soul's essence. And when I did that, instead of creating a life that was reflective of the high frequency that I was as a child, that was reflective of my true soul, my true authentic self, that was reflective of my true soul's frequency. When I moved from my heart space and moved into my head, I created a life out of fear. In the past life regression, I worked in a clothing wash shop. And in that clothing wash shop, a gentleman came in with his friends to pick up his clothing. And the gentleman said, Allie, you're so beautiful. I don't know why you work here. You should have a husband. You should be living good. I don't know why you work here. And, I just ignored him. Like, are you picking up your clothes or not? And his friend was there, and I looked into his friend's eyes, and his friend reminded me of that frequency of home, that frequency of myself that I had lost so long ago when my father died. And that frequency walked out the door when he left, right? And that was symbolic of a few things. I'm not going to get into that right now. But so he left out the door. Allie died in that log cabin that she grew up with her mother, her father, and her grandfather. She died on her deathbed. She died of a broken heart. She died alone with no family, no kids, never fulfilling her dreams. That was the past life regression that came in so vividly for me, right? And I understood it as, me not allowing my light to get dimmed, me, being my full self. But I've said it before, God told me, you don't know who you are, let me show you. The woman, the feminine, is sacred. The woman is sacred. She holds the blueprint, the keys, the map, the knowledge, the wisdom, the intuition of all that is, of the universe, of the cosmos. When I incarnated into this earth realm and I took on all of these traumas, all of these pains and wounds of the human collective, one of them being feeling as if my role as a woman was to serve and be as the masculine or the man wanted me to serve or to be as. Feeling as if in order for me to survive, I have to depend on the will, on the force, on the power of the man, of the masculine. This is how the woman, this is how the feminine, the divine feminine has been reduced in the human collective. Feeling as though she is being disconnected from her divine essence, from her divine truths. This has resulted in the woman being overly masculine, feeling that she has to work and be dominant in this world in order to be successful, in order to thrive. When the divine feminine, the divine creator, the Most High Creator created the divine feminine to be the wisdom keeper, to be the energy cultivator, to be the magnet to draw in all that she desires and all that she wants. I was in a predicament because I had that past trauma of losing myself, losing who I was, not allowing myself to be my full self because of the pains in my heart, because of the traumas in my heart as a child in this lifetime. So I had the past life regression of Allie losing who she was because of losing her father. As a child in this lifetime, when I was a small child, I had dreams of my father dying. I had dreams of my daddy dying, and that was my biggest fear when I was a child. And I didn't know why I would have that dream, and I kept it to myself. That was my biggest fear as a child, and it seemed so random. It seemed so random. It seemed so random. My biggest fear as a child was my daddy dying. And I would have a dream of my daddy passing away. And it wasn't him actually passing away. It was him riding a bicycle. And then he rode the bicycle into this hangar, like into this storage hangar. And then he didn't come out. And as a child, I intuitively knew that was symbolic of my daddy dying, of my daddy passing away from this physical realm. I knew that as a child. And that was my biggest fear, is my daddy dying as a child. So I carried around this fear of losing that masculine essence in my life, fearing losing that masculine essence in my life, that masculine love of a father, that love of my father, losing that energy in my life. I carried that around, that came from past lifetimes. This energy came from past lifetimes. Now, in order for me to be able to see this full picture, I had to allow myself to drop into my heart and feel the pains of losing my father, not just in this lifetime, because my daddy has passed away. He passed away a few years ago. Losing him in this lifetime from the physical realm, because we have reconnected. As I now know that there really is no boundaries or gates or limitations or blocks between the physical realm and the spiritual realm, but our minds. Our minds are the only thing that blocks us from the spiritual realm, being able to connect from spirits in the spiritual realm. Our minds and the limitations that we place on our minds and on ourselves are the only thing that blocks us from the spiritual realm. So I've reconnected with my daddy, and my daddy is always with me, and I love my daddy, and he's always with me. I'm gonna say that again, and I love my daddy. So I carried around this energy in my heart of losing my daddy. My daddy did pass. We reconnected as I let God show me who I am. I let God show me who I am, as I am a sacred divine feminine. I am a sacred divine feminine, meaning I was created to have access. I was created to connect. I was created to know the workings, the wisdom of the cosmos, of all that is. That's what I was created for. That's what the woman was created for. That's the position that the woman holds, is supposed to hold in humanity. The sacredness, the sanctity of being the wisdom bearer, of the spiritual realm, of all that is, of the cosmos. So let God show me who I am. I am a sacred divine feminine. I am a sacred divine feminine. And I had this fear as I took on the energies of the human collective in order to work out these puzzles, in order to work out these energies, to understand these energies, to break free from these energies, in order to create the remedy, in order to emanate the remedy for the antidote for the wounds of the diluted feminine in the human collective. So I worked out these energies. Okay, God, show me who I am. I am a sacred divine feminine with no limitations. Only limitations are the limitations that I place on myself. The fear that I had of losing my father that came from past lifetimes that were reinforced in this lifetime. Pushed me to seeing myself, understanding myself. Because when I had that past life regression, it said, I knew that it was on me. I knew that my ancestors were passing the baton to me to reignite the flame of our soul. My ancestors are not only my relatives that have passed away, but they're like the other incarnations of my soul. So the other incarnations of my soul in past lifetimes, those are my ancestors as well. So my ancestors are passing the baton to me to reignite our soul flame, to reignite who we are. I am a sacred, divine, feminine. Thank you so much for joining me on this installment of Kingdom Things. The world is changing. The world is changing. Humanity is changing. Humanity is evolving. Humanity is expanding its scope of reality. Humanity is expanding its scope of reality. We are being welcomed out of the box of what we thought was all there was. We are being welcomed out of the box of what we thought was all there was. And this welcoming is a welcoming of, a love that is so deep, a love that runs so deep, an unconditional love that has an understanding that we share a bond of oneness. We share a bond of the energy of unconditional love, the energy of oneness, the energy of creation. We are creators. At the same time, we are of the same creator. When you're done here with Kingdom Things, go ahead and click the link in the posting of the description of this podcast. In that link, you will find my creative works. I'm a spiritual practitioner, spiritual healer, infinite being having a human experience, and I'm having a good old time. I'm having a good old time. You can hear Zoe in the background. I'm having a good old time, and so is she. Having a good old time creating and tapping into my infinite abilities, infinite possibilities to be experienced in this earth experience. I want to thank you again so much for joining me here on Kingdom Things. I love you. Love on yourself. Self-love is the best love because it activates the God or goddess within.
What is it to you that I believe in me? What is it to you to succeed? It's like the breath I need.